Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryder, and this is your beginner's guide to Reinhardt. In this video, we're going to go over the basic abilities and playstyle of Reinhardt, so that you can kind of jump into quick play or competitive with kind of an idea of how he functions and how he works without going in completely blind. Keep in mind, this is just a beginner's guide. In order to really master some of the heroes in Overwatch, you're going to need to practice and learn with them and, you know, kind of learn their nuances and some of the plays that you can do with them. But this is going to at least give you a foundation and kind of a building ground to work with, so you're not going in completely blind. I will go over some tips and tricks and some strengths and weaknesses for Reinhardt, but at the end of the day, it will take kind of getting your feet wet and learning him, you know, and practicing with him. Before going any further, please be sure to go down below, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and check the description down below where I have my Twitch channel linked, where you can go there and you can drop a follow, where I stream pretty regularly on that channel as well. But without further ado, let's jump into Reinhardt. So Reinhardt is a tank hero, and Reinhardt has been around since Overwatch 1 and is one of the staple tank heroes in the game. He's very popular. He is very, he's used quite often at all ranks. Now Reinhardt is a tank hero, and when I say tank hero, that means your job is to be at the front line. Your job is to eat the damage, to create space for your team to be able to push in, to create opportunities. Your job is to be at that front line, be that meat shield, so to speak, go in and, you know, push in so that your team can follow you. You should always be at the front of the pack and ready to go. So Reinhardt has a lot of things to help with that. His primary weapon is his hammer, which is a pretty slow swing speed, but it does a respectable amount of damage. It doesn't have very long range, so obviously you're not going to be able to, like, you know, hit a ferret in the sky. But anybody that gets smacked by this hammer, by God, they're going to know they got smacked by this hammer. People are scared of the hammer, okay? Don't get smacked around by the hammer if you're facing a Reinhardt. But anytime that there's somebody nearby you, you should be smacking the ever-loving shit out of them. His other ability is his, what's it called? His Fire Strike. Yeah, that's what it's called. So the Fire Strike, you have 2 charges of this, and when you launch it, you just basically launch Fire Strike. And I had a step there, but Fire Strike, boom. And you have 2 charges of this. It's a ranged attack. It's just basically free ult charge. You can also use it if, like, you hit somebody with your hammer and they try to run away from you and they're trying to get away and whatnot. You can follow it up with a Fire Strike and get them that way. Then you also have your charge. Charge is where you just literally charge forward. Anything caught in your path will take damage, get knocked back, and anybody you hit directly dead on, you will take with you. And if you come into contact with a surface while you're charging and you have them pinned to you, you will pin them against the wall and almost always one-shot them, unless it's like a tank. If you pin like an enemy Reinhardt or enemy Roadhog or something, they'll probably survive the pin, unless they're already at like half health already. But the charge pin does a ton of damage. Keep in mind, whenever you're doing this, there is there is a canceling of it by just hitting the pin button again. This has a 7-second cooldown, and it does, I mean, you charge quite the distance. Okay, as you can see here, I charge pretty much the length of the map by just hitting it once. So keep that in mind, because I have seen Reinhardt's just charge clear off a platform before, which was actually kind of comical. Keep that in mind also, if you pin an enemy player, you'll take them with you. Kamikaze. Something to do. But anyway, these are all things to keep in mind. It's a good way to finish off targets, charge into the enemy team, and create space for your team to push in, and things like that. But just be careful with that, because, you know, you can get yourself in some really bad situations by charging prematurely, not alerting your healers that you're charging in, not communicating with them, stuff like that. And then you also have his shield. By holding his secondary primary fire button, he pulls up this big old shield, and everything in front of him, it cannot attack through that shield. It has to go through the shield first. It has 1200 health, which is the highest health shield in the game. And this thing is able to basically block all incoming damage while your team can shoot through it. Once it goes down and it breaks, it does have a recharge time, so you want to try to avoid it fully breaking. and anytime that you aren't getting it attacked, or like you see an opening, then you can drop it and it'll recharge over time, as you can see under the crosshairs there. So these are all things to kind of keep in mind. And then of course you have his Shatter. Okay, Earth Shatter is very, very, very powerful ultimate. When he uses it, he slams his hammer down, and everything directly in front of him gets stunned in place on the ground for approximately a second and a half. During this time, there's a couple things you can do. You can go in and swing your hammer wildly and just tear people up. You can charge in and pin a priority target, and it'll also cause damage to everybody around you. You can fire strike people, or it could just be a way to earth shatter them in to line up for a DPS ult to combo with. All of these things are definitely possible with the earth shatter ult. Keep in mind, earth shatter does not go through shields. So if you're facing an enemy Reinhardt, an enemy Sigma, a Zarya, all of these things will block your shatter. So do not, like Maywall as well, all of these things block your shatter. So you have to be smart and shatter when you know it's going to connect and that you know that it's going to go through. Nothing is more disheartening than throwing your shatter out there and getting it blocked by a Reinhardt. It really sucks. But that's his kit, essentially. Now, a couple tips and tricks with Reinhardt. First and foremost, your shield is secondary to your health. You have 1200 shield, you have 625 health. You are an absolute unit on the field. You can survive a lot of damage. Reinhardts thrive in basically bullying your team. If your healers are able to keep you alive, you should use your shield as a secondary backup, almost. Anytime I'm playing Reinhardt, I will go in and I'll normally begin the fight by holding down my shield, and I'll push in, and that'll kind of gauge how much damage they're doing. If your shield's getting absolutely melted by the enemy team, it's probably a good idea to take cover, let it recharge, and rethink your strategy. You know, maybe do more of like the picking from a distance with Fire Strike and like a slow push forward, if you know what I mean. But if you're pushing in and they're not really tearing up that shield very quickly or anything, then keep pushing that thing. Walk in, and as soon as you get in range, fucking swing for the fences, boys. Just start swinging that hammer. Just start bullying people. They will get the point. They'll either start focusing you or they'll die. Now, let's say they start to focus you, they start to do damage. Well, then that's whenever you need to know, before you start doing this, where your healers are and where you're going to back up at. Let's say they start to focus you and they start to go and they start to do a ton of damage to you. At that point, you can throw that shield up and start backing up and giving your healers a chance to heal you up while you're blocking that damage. And then as soon as you're healed back up, then you can drop that shield and go right back on the offensive and swinging for the fences again. Reinhardt can be a very big aggro tank. So, you know, don't be afraid to just get in there and bully the enemy team if your healers can keep you up. Now, that being said, don't be too aggro. Don't be too aggressive. That is a very big pitfall I see Reinhardts do, okay? You don't want to go in and just be a psycho, okay? Like, if you are pushing in and you notice your team is right behind you and you're pushing in to, let's say, over there where those robots are, okay, I wouldn't want to just charge in to the enemy team. That would be suicide. There's not unless I know for a fact there's an ultimate to back me up, like a Transcendence or something like that. Don't push in like this, and then when your whole team is back here, charge into the enemy team, and then just start swinging. Because here's the problem with that. They're gonna melt you, and your healers will not get you in time unless they already know it's coming. I've seen so many Reinhardts in play just charge into the enemy team nonchalantly. They'll get one quick pin, they'll start swinging for the fences, they get melted to the ground, and then the next thing you know, they're raging at the healers saying, "Why didn't you heal me?" Well, because you have now put yourself in a bad position where the healers are not going to chase you. The healers are not going to chase you into the enemy team and risk getting themselves killed, because the thing is, at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to create as much chaos as, say, a Winston can. You do a lot of damage, but you're also a big meat shield. they can easily tear you up, right? Reapers can easily tear a Reinhardt up, as can a lot of other targets. So just keep that in mind. Also, beware when facing an enemy Reinhardt on being too aggressive with swinging your hammer at the enemy team, because nothing is more embarrassing than sitting there swinging for the fences, and then next thing you know, they earth shatter and you don't have your shield up to stop it. Okay? You should always keep in mind how long the fight's been going on and whether or not the enemy Reinhardt has shattered recently, because if you feel like that Reinhardt might have a shatter, then it'd be a good idea to play a little bit more defensively and try to bait that shatter out before you go too aggro on the team. Because if you get caught with your shield down, he shatters. Now he's not just shattered you, but the whole team, and then that creates a bad scene. But you can totally nullify a Reinhardt shatter by keeping your shield up, and vice versa. Keep in mind some strengths and weaknesses for Reinhardt. Okay, he is very strong against your squishier targets, your 200 health targets. So Tracer, Genji, Ana, Mercy, Zenyatta, all these heroes that have very low health. He can just absolutely light them up with that hammer. Weaknesses that he does have, obviously flight heroes, so Pharah and Echo are definitely a problem for him because he can't get to them with the hammer. Junkrat is also a problem for him as well because the grenades from Junkrat do eat through the shield pretty fast. So you want to make sure that you sit there and you make sure that you are aware of how much damage your shield's taking. Also, Bastion can also be kind of a pain in the ass for Reinhardt as well, because in his turret form, he can absolutely melt Reinhardt's shield. So these are all things to keep in mind, and of course, Reaper. Another big one is Sombra, because a Sombra who knows what she's doing can keep a Reinhardt hacked, and if Reinhardt is hacked, he cannot use his shield. So keep that in mind. When playing it, it's not a one-trick game, it's a counter-trick game. So if you notice that you are getting countered easily, that you want to make sure that you do that as much as what you can. And as you can see, I have interruptions in the background, so I'm going to have to interrupt. I'm going to have to end the video earlier than what I'd like. But that's the video, guys. If you guys like what you saw here, please feel free to hit the like button, leave a comment down below if you have any further questions. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.